Hey everyone, so today we're going to be installing an eBay fog light kit on my MK6 Jetta SportWagen. It's going to be the exact same functionality as the ECS Tuning kit, but at literally a quarter of the cost. So the kit we're going to be using, it's offered by Spider. This is a semi-generic kit, so it's going to come with everything fit and function when it comes to the fog lights. So the fog light housings and your grill inserts are going to be perfectly fit to the MK6 Jetta. And the wiring harness it comes with will require some modification the further down we get, but it's relatively cut to the correct lengths and everything to fit up inside of your engine bay, no problem. It's really the switch and how we're going to be working that out, because we are installing this to a Euroswitch. That's pretty cheap. These Chinese Euroswitches are all over the place. There's a bunch of different options you can get with them. For us, we just went with your basic switch, which is just going to have your on, your parking, and your headlights, and then you just pull out for your fog lights. There's some options that have rear fogs on them. There's also options for auto lights on the system, but we're not going that route. So pretty simple. All in all, what I paid for this was $70, something like that, 72 bucks with tax. This was $10, and the kit itself from Spider was $60. So you can see we have our two fog light housings as well as the two lower grill trim pieces. Then we have our wiring harness, main harness, and then we have the secondary harness that's going to be going to that toggle switch. We aren't going to be using this, like I said, we are going to be using the Euroswitch, but we are going to be using pieces from this one to make that connection. And that's the only custom thing about this install that's literally saving you $275. So just think about that. So the first step is going to be dependent on which model you have. Since I have a TDI, the airbox and everything is going to be in the way. I think the 2.5 models, you are fine. You are clear to go to step 2, no problem. But the first step, for us TDI owners, we got to pull everything out of there so we have the space to work with. So basically everything you see here, it's got to come out so we can get access down through here. And it's going to take a little bit of time, but it shouldn't be a big deal. All right, now we just got to remove both lower grill pieces here, kind of open stuff up. Whew. All right, so we're gonna want to be putting the harness down right through there. That opening there is gonna let us get everything down in and come out at the bottom over here. So we'll go ahead and route that. We are gonna take the longer side first, the passenger side, which is just gonna help us pull everything else down through. All right, now that we've got that run through, we're just gonna bring the passenger side through here and back out over here. If you go ahead and look in here, you'll see there's an opening to run right down there. There's a couple ways you can do this. You can pull this off at the top, the lower grill here, insert. But if you're from a state like this, in New York, where that stuff's gonna be in your way, you can just kind of grovel for a bit and just reach in here and drag it through each individual slot. So that's what we're gonna do. Also, it's super humid out here, so I'm sorry, but I am sweaty. All right, so you can see we got both sides routed through in the lower grill. And that's where I say this kit does lengthwise line up really well here. So next step, we're gonna go ahead and get the housings off of there. And we're gonna go throw our housings in and connect the wires and move on to finishing the rest. So when you're looking at these fogs here, they're gonna have these two tabs in the back, which are corresponding to those two openings here and here. You can see those. And then you just have this one set screw here, which is going to go right into that hole right there that you can see. So those will line up like that. So pretty simple. You're just basically fitting these 2 points together, these 3 points together. So we'll plug it in and we'll go ahead and put it in there and sink that screw through. All right, right side done. We'll head over the left side now. All right, moving on. All right, now we're just gonna need to remove the battery here. So we'll go ahead and pull the battery, and that's gonna give us access to kind of start working on all the wiring here. So this location right here is gonna be the one we're tying into. So we just have to splay this apart, these little clamps, with a screwdriver, and then we'll be able to tap into power on that. All right, so you can see we now have our power running up in here, hooking onto this line, tighten down good. So now I'll work on routing the rest of this. All right, so look it in once everything's out of the way. That right there, that's gonna be our good ground. So we're gonna go pull that off, and we're gonna run this down onto that to ground everything out. So we can go ahead and remove this right here, and we'll use that to mount the relay. Kind of tucked it back under here. It's gonna run down to our ground, down to our lights, and into our power source. So this generic kit, this piece goes from the main harness to the generic toggle switch. Now that toggle switch, I assume, lights up when the lights are on and turns off, and I believe that's why we're seeing a ground wire and a power wire. So a couple things for this here. One, this wire is too short to make it through the firewall and then into our switch location. Two, we don't need to light anything up because we're just going to the pin 5 position on that Euroswitch. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna pop this pin out of this connector, and we're going to extend the wire. We'll connect it to either a piece of salvage wire from here, from these ones, or on the main harness. It has a much longer wire system to run through. So pretty simple. Pop this out of here, and then we'll connect all the wires up, and we'll head into the passenger compartment and start hooking things up in there. All right, so it's your harness. You see, have some extra length here, and a couple things. These do have the spade connectors on this end, and then we have our generic start. So we're going to start by pulling this apart, which I think realistically these are just going to be soldered in here. At least that's my guess at that point. All right, yep, they're just soldered in there. Pop this off. Yeah, right there. So, probably just cut this back some. We'll have this piece of wire to work with, and we'll see if we can use a butt connector on that. But either way, we gotta step this and go from there. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take this wire and we are gonna run this through our firewall. There's a couple ways we can do that. One is by snipping both ends and running them through, but I think we'll be able to punch it through with the spade on it. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take this end and we are gonna pull everything apart so we have all the wires we want, just that single white trigger wire. We're gonna get rid of these two, and we're gonna basically punch that through the grommet in the firewall, and then that's gonna let us take this end here and connect it to the wire that is inside the engine bay with a wire nut or something simple. Either way, no biggie. So we're gonna get started on that. Let's give me a fight. All right. And there we go. The goal here is to find a way to make this all reach and utilize a pin. We aren't quite sure. I'm not quite sure what the pin looks like in the vehicle, so I just want to take the time to, you know, work this through and get the right setup on there. But let's go ahead and start punching this through the car. Can't beat a barbecue skewer for this job. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and punch this through. Hopefully it's got some good reach on it. All right, we'll see where that went. So inside the cabin, we have to get up access over here. So all this stuff in the way here, we're gonna have to pull out. Everybody knows this is like the most uncomfortable working position, but either way, we gotta get all that stuff out above so we can get access to that grommet coming through. All right, so you have to pop this tray out on the bottom. Like I said, not a fun position to get that through, but you can see right here, and we have that skewer pulled through. So we've worked it up through here. It's coming down from the location underneath. Just bring it up here and run it up out. So now we're just gonna pin it into connector 5 on this existing harness. So then you gotta pop this open. So if you look on the side here, these two clamps, these kind of side pieces here, will pop out and unlock it. Position number 5, it's pretty interesting. If you look at the ends here, you can see the numbers 1 through 5, and then 5 or 6 through 10. So 5 is this corner position, which is gonna be this open spot here, right there. So we gotta pop this right side open. All right, so we've got that running up into our connector, and that is in position 5 there. So go ahead and get the new switch in, and just kind of follow through and put everything back together from there. All right, let's hook up the battery and just see if it works. All right, let's see what happens. So guys, I don't have a great explanation as to why only one side is turning on. I went ahead, put the stock switch back in, and I'm still only getting one driver's side headlight turning on. Obviously I can't run the fog lights from that switch. But right now I'm getting just this come on and the fog lights coming on, no problem. Now, the thing that concerns me about that is that the fog light over here, really, it's just a trigger switch. So, at a minimum, both fog lights should be turning on. Now, what's going on this side, I'm not really sure, but that kit should work so that both lights are turning on. So, I'm going to have to figure out, I'm going to check this and see if maybe it's just not connected. That was all it was, guys. Just had to punch that headlight up there for some reason. And then this one, he said good to go. I just had to loose that grommet was just kind of bunched up, which kept everything loose in there. So, all right, well, that's pretty much it for the install. Just gonna go ahead and button things up now at this point. But cool, we'll get to that and close everything up here. All right, throw all this back in, get everything assembled here. All right, she's all buttoned up. Final step's gonna just be installing our new grill pieces. So it's gonna kind of slot in. These things, man, they fit tight. So this slots in on the outside and then everything else just kind of clamps in. But even taking them out, it is surprising how tight they are. That's some force, guys. That is some legitimate force. I mean, you're basically ready to break everything to get these to clip in. One more time in the garage before I head in and get my sweaty self cleaned up. Guys, we're back out here this morning just so we can get some good shots of this, but here we go. Here's the finished product. So yeah, I'm happy with it. Wait for some nighttime, maybe do some adjustment with them. But otherwise, I mean, for the amount of money you got to put in these, it's super easy install, really beginner style install. And the cost just, you know, I don't even know how ECS charges what they charge for this other than OEM, you know, parts. But so either way, I'm happy with it. And I'll get this back in the garage here. And I'll catch you guys on another one.